and you have those midfielders coming in from the back, supporting the forward, and it's a tough system to play, and it's a tough system to get, and the boys are working, and I'm sure they're gonna come up with it. But yeah, man, I mean, as a fan, I want to see some goals.
So let's get back on track though. Surprises. Anybody on the team really where you're like, why is he on there? Because I got a couple. I personally got a couple, but I want to hear your take. And
not really, not surprises. More like, I mean, like this. Where's this guy at? Alfredo Morales. I mean, I've never really heard of him or seen him play, but Klinsman's seen him, and I mean that's enough for me. But I'm just maybe not surprised, but
I'm pretty sure a lot of people haven't heard of Alfredo Morales, myself included. When I saw the lineup, I was like, "Who's Alfredo Morales?" And so I did a little digging, and on Twitter, I got a little help from the people that I follow, the blogs that I follow, the shows that I follow. Alfredo Morales, I believe, his father is Peruvian. It was in the service, stayed in Germany, and his mother is German. But he's lived there his whole life, from what I understand, and he plays for the Hertha Berlin. So he's been there, so he's been playing. So of course, Klinsmann has that German connection. Saw somebody who's, available for the U.S. Why not?
Yeah, and it goes a little beyond that too. I mean, even in these third division leagues here, I mean, there's tons of kids that go to Germany, they go to Sweden, they go to Finland, and they play ball, but they're not really heard of. They're not big names, but they've been in the camp system, and they've been in playing competitive football. They haven't been looked at the way they should have or should. And I mean, I think it's great. I mean, like I said, I open them with open, I greet him with open arms, and I hope nothing but the best for him. Now he just has to prove it.
Yeah. Basically, we're waiting and see what he can show.
Yeah.
As far as my surprises, a lot of my surprises are probably the same echo as I've seen with other U.S. fans. Twitter blew up when this roster came out. Somebody who I've been pretty hard on and still just don't see why he gets that call up. And a lot of people are saying, and he's getting that kind of like, is he Klinsmann's Johnny Bornstein? Where people are still don't understand why he's getting called up. But you know what? Like again, Klinsmann has a plan, but it's Orozco Fiscal. I have not seen why he gets, keep getting the call to come play internationally. When there's a couple other guys that could get a chance. Same thing with Robbie Rogers hasn't been playing. He's been a little hurt, but hasn't been playing. And just for me, although I like the guy, great speed, great pace, one of probably our fastest players available, but technically maybe not there.
Well, let me cut in with that. In terms of maybe Orozco. I mean, the kid's played in a competitive league in Mexico. He played for San Luis, and the first couple years he played in the league, he did phenomenal. He fell off a little bit, but I mean, every player does. And the kid's still young. The thing is about a player like Fiscal is that he brings that different style of soccer to where maybe our center backs don't have, you know what I mean? In terms of Bocanera. Bocanera gets the ball sometimes, so you can still kind of see he's very pressured and rushed to kick a ball upfield. That's not the way. And that's not the way you play in Mexico or in Latin America or anywhere else, for that matter. And I think maybe Jurgen has seen something in Orozco in practices or in his league out in Mexico that he can maybe work on and develop him, and we're talking about developing a team and starting a base. Maybe he's doing that with the likes of Rogers, with Fiscal, and you, off camera, you mentioned maybe why isn't Omar Gonzalez getting the call up or
George John, there's Michael Parker. There's a plethora of guys who, there's 5 games in. Let's be honest, 5 games in, and Orozco Fiscal, just like Edgar Castillo, were in the plans of Klinsmann, but personally, and to the tune of many others, they just don't fit. And they just, and that's my personal opinion. A player probably not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? It's just
a player like Orozco, the caliber he has, it's like you can't expect him to to give you 100% game, you know? Especially at the national level. People don't understand that the national level and the club level are two completely different things. And it's you can't make mistakes at the national level. You make one mistake, boom, goal. Especially as a center back, you know? And I just, like I said, I think that he's chosen to keep him on the roster to you know, to develop him a little bit more. Maybe he sees movements in him that he doesn't get from Bocanegra or from the Goodson. You know, he sees something in him. You know, same with Rogers. Same with, I mean, any player.
So then, how long? What if we still don't see Orozco do anything in these two friendlies? How much longer?
Well, to be fair, how many games have you? Like, how many really chances have they given him?
He started 4 times. He started 4 games.
No.
He started 4 games. And
I don't know. I mean,
like
I said, I've played with the guy, man, and I know what he can do, man. You know, and the technique that this guy has is, you know, it's unlike other center backs that we had. And really, in today's game, you see guys like Nesta in AC Milan. You see Lucio, Ledley King, John Terry. You know, these guys are David Luiz from Chelsea. These guys are center backs, but God, they're so technical. You know what I mean? That whole bombing the ball up and doing all that nonsense just doesn't fly anymore. You know, and you're right. Maybe Orozco does get done up a lot, and I get you, but maybe he has that technique and that swagger that Klinsmann is looking for. And maybe these Omar Gonzalez and these other players you're talking about just kind of, I don't want to say don't have the talent, but just don't have what Jurgen's looking for in the team that he wants to set up.
If you think about it, really, even Fiscal probably isn't the guy. I'm not sold.
Well, let me tell you something. Same with Josie Altidore. I mean, Josie Altidore hasn't, but he's our guy because he's our guy. He's our go-to guy. But we have to keep developing him. And as players out there, coaches out there, you guys know, good coaches at least, you don't give up on players. You know, if a player's not doing something right, you work with the player. Same with the player. You know, you have to develop. Every time you go into camp or you go into training, you have to really develop. You have to learn something different every time you get in there. You know what I mean? And maybe, like I said, I keep going back to it. Maybe Jurgen Klinsmann sees something in Orozco Fiscal, and you know, I want everyone to maybe take a look at his movements when he gets the ball, and really look at his technique, and you know, give him more credit than what he's.
Yeah,
you know, the U.S. has a very physical game. We're used to Bocanegra and Gooch running past dudes, but I mean, you've seen them get beat off simple step plays, like simple offside traps they could have you know, implemented into a game. That things like that. The defending is far much than just being big and shoving your opponent out the way. It's very mental, and I think that Fiscal gives that side of soccer into the team, you know, that style of soccer into the team. Again, yeah, he hasn't performed well, and he has that going against him.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on him. Let's see what happens these couple games. If he does well, fine. If he doesn't, I'm looking for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it. And I hope that somebody else gets a shot. That's the biggest
Mm-hmm.
thing is it's time for Klinsmann to kind of look at other players. And you know, he could be looking at Fiscal. He could be looking at him, but maybe he's not catching somebody else because he has his eye fixed on one person. That's all I'm saying is this is his time to kind of to play with it. Moving on. I want to move on because we could talk about that forever. We know ourselves. Hercules Gomez. Everybody's, you know, that's another guy who's playing very well in Mexico and scoring a lot of goals. Yeah. And where the U.S. is lacking in guys putting the ball in the net, what's going on with him? Like, what could possibly, what does he have to do to get a call up?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you got to get him while he's hot. You know what I mean? And
nobody's hotter right now. Nobody's hotter.